A very, very long time ago, before anyone even thought about writing history books, the land that we now call Albania was already home to people. These ancient folks were part of a group called the Illyrians, and they were known for being fierce warriors, excellent sailors, and people who really didn't like being told what to do. They lived in small tribes and spent a lot of time fighting each other and anyone else who tried to control them. They were also skilled farmers and traders, developing early civilizations that thrived along the Adriatic coast. But then, around the 3rd century BC, the Romans came along. Now, the Romans were not the kind of people you could easily say no to. They were strong, organized, and determined to conquer everything in sight. The Illyrians resisted as much as they could, and there were many battles between the two. Some Illyrian leaders, like Queen Tuta, even managed to put up a strong fight against Rome. But by 168 BC, the Romans had won, and Illyria became part of the great Roman Empire. For the next few centuries, life in Albania was all about Roman rule. Roads were built, cities grew, and people started adopting Roman ways of life. The city of Dyrrhachium, modern-day Durrës, became an important trade center, and many Illyrians even joined the Roman army, becoming respected soldiers. When the Roman Empire split in two in 395 AD, Albania ended up in the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantines controlled Albania for a long time, but it was never easy. Many different groups wanted a piece of Albania, including the Slavs, the Bulgarians, and even the Normans from France. Albania was like a party that everyone wanted to crash, and the Byzantines had to fight hard to keep control. Despite their efforts, different groups, including the Venetians and the Serbs, influenced parts of Albania, leaving behind traces of their cultures. By the 11th and 12th centuries, Albania had developed its own noble families, who often switched alliances between the Byzantines, the Venetians, and the Serbs, depending on who could offer them the best protection. One of the most powerful Albanian families was the Castrioti family, and from this family emerged the most famous Albanian hero, Skanderbeg. Skanderbeg was an Albanian nobleman who had been raised by the Ottomans, but later turned against them. He gathered an army and fought off the Ottomans for 25 years, making Albania one of the toughest places for the Ottomans to conquer. Unfortunately, when Skanderbeg died in 1468, there was no one strong enough to keep the resistance going, and soon after, Albania became part of the Ottoman Empire. For over 400 years, Albania was under Ottoman rule. Many Albanians converted to Islam, while others remained Christian, creating a diverse religious landscape. The Ottomans brought new architecture, customs, and traditions, but through it all, Albanians never lost their sense of identity. They still spoke their own language, kept their own traditions, and dreamed of independence. That dream finally started to become reality in the 19th century, when nationalist movements all over the Balkans began pushing for freedom. Albanians were inspired and started organizing their own movement, and by 1912, they finally declared independence from the Ottoman Empire. But just because Albania was independent didn't mean things got easier. The early 20th century was chaotic. World War I broke out in 1914, and Albania became a battleground for various European powers. Different parts of the country were occupied by different armies, and at times, it seemed like Albania might disappear completely. After the war, Albania managed to survive as a country, but it was struggling to stay stable. Then, in 1939, Italy invaded. Mussolini wanted to add Albania to his growing empire, And for a few years during World War II, Albania was under Italian and later German control. The Albanian people, however, did not sit back and accept this. A strong resistance movement formed, and many fought bravely against the fascist occupiers. By 1944, the resistance had won, and Albania was free from foreign rule. When World War II ended in 1945, Albania took a dramatic turn. A communist leader named Enver Hoxha came to power, and he decided that Albania would become one of the most isolated countries in the world. Hoxha was a strict and paranoid leader. He cut off Albania from almost all outside influences, banned religion, controlled every aspect of people's lives, and even built 700,000 concrete bunkers all over the country because he was convinced Albania was going to be invaded at any moment. For nearly 40 years, Albanians lived under a strict communist dictatorship, with very little contact with the rest of the world. Life was difficult under Hoxha as people faced food shortages, censorship, and extreme political repression. Families were often torn apart by the government's strict surveillance, and fear ruled everyday life. Even after Hoxha died in 1985, the country remained isolated for a few more years before communism finally collapsed in 1991. Finally, in 1991, Albania became a democracy. But the transition was not easy. The economy was in ruins, and in 1997, a huge financial crisis caused riots and chaos across the country. People were frustrated, but over time, Albania started to rebuild. The country opened up to the world, joined NATO in 2009, and has been working towards becoming a member of the European Union. Today, Albania is a beautiful country with stunning beaches, towering mountains, and friendly people who are proud of their rich and complex history. And as for all those bunkers Hoxha built, some have been turned into museums, cafes, and even homes, proving that Albanians always find a way to make the best out of their past. Albania's modern history continues to evolve as the country invests in infrastructure, education, and technology. Tourists from around the world visit its ancient cities, national parks, and vibrant capital, Tirana. Despite a long and often difficult past, Albanians remain resilient, looking forward to a brighter and more prosperous future. Their story is one of survival, courage, and determination, proving that no matter how many times history tries to push them down, they always stand back up. Today, Albanians take pride in their culture, music, and traditions, celebrating their independence and heritage in grand festivals and events. With strong ties to their diaspora across the world, Albanians continue to contribute to global culture, science, sports, and politics. And that, in a very long and adventurous story, is the history of Albania.